Cranberry. I'm the dietitian and health coach with MLK Health Center and Pharmacy. We are in the throes of the holiday season, which means lots of holiday meals. So I decided to do a healthier version of a common holiday staple, and that's cranberry sauce. Growing up, the cranberry sauce at my holiday meals was usually from a can. So not the most appetizing. Usually it's sweetened with high fructose corn syrup, has preservatives added. So I wanted to really do it justice and make it from scratch. So for this recipe, we're getting our sweetness from apples and maple syrup instead of high fructose corn syrup. Obviously we've got cranberries, and then we have a cinnamon stick and some salt to just jazz up that flavor a little bit. So I did not come up with this recipe on my own. I got it from the Steph Gaudreau website. She comes up with a lot of really tasty, delicious recipes. I'm on her website for a lot of different food and meal ideas. So I would definitely check out her stuff. It's more paleo inspired, but that's where this recipe is coming from. So I want to give credit where credit is due. But anyway, we have our ingredients ready, so we will get started. The only ingredient that really needs some prep for this recipe is the apples. So you're gonna need to peel both. I just use a vegetable peeler to get most of that skin off. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then from there, we need to chop it up, core it, all of that. So this can be a little tricky. If you have your own method, great, go ahead and use it. Personally, what I like to do is cut the apple in half, get those seeds out of the way, put it flat side down, cut it into quarters. That. And then from there, I'll take that quarter wedge and just angle my knife down like that. And that usually ends up removing that core and seed part pretty cleanly. And then from there, I can take that piece and cut it into smaller pieces pretty easily. If you want a little more sweetness from this, you can cut the apple into smaller pieces. That's just gonna give it more surface area and a more opportunity for that sweetness to work its way into the final product. So we'll just repeat that, each of these wedges, until we have lots of little apple pieces. Okay, we have a medium saucepan here, so we're gonna add our cranberries. These have been rinsed. We're gonna add our 2 apples that have been cut up. Don't throw them in the flame like I did. This calls for 2 tablespoons of maple syrup. I know I'm kind of bad about measuring, but you can just about eyeball 2 tablespoons. You do have to add some sweetness to this because cranberries are really, really, really bitter. So that sweetness is just going to make it a little more palatable and tasty. Add a crack of salt, and then we're going to throw in our cinnamon stick and about half a cup of water. Now I would have a little extra water handy because if this dries out, you're going to need to add a little more. So we'll bump this up to medium. Cover it, but let a little vent so that way steam can get out. We're just gonna let this hang out for a few minutes. So you want to be stirring this about every minute or so. And for the first 4 or 5 minutes, it's gonna seem like nothing is happening, which is okay, that's normal. We're trying to slowly bring these cranberries up to temperature. And what eventually is going to happen is they're going to start to burst, and that's going to make this start to gel and become more of a sauce. So we're still waiting on that. Still keep stirring, bring that up to temp, leaving it covered in the in-between time. Things are starting to happen. So if you look down in here, some of these cranberries are starting to pop. You can actually hear it. I was in another room and I heard a little pop, and so I knew that this was starting to work. So we'll just keep this moving. The choice of apples to go along with this was definitely purposeful because both cranberries and apples have a lot of pectin. Pectin is something that makes things gel. So these 2 fruits together are going to create that sort of gelled up final product. that we normally expect with cranberry sauce. So that's why we don't have to add anything extra to make that happen. So we'll just keep this working. I'll probably let it sit for a few more minutes, stir, just repeat that until all those cranberries have burst. So we are in the home stretch here. Just about all of our cranberries have burst. If you do have any cranberries that are just being stubborn, you can use your spoon to just kind of pop those along the side of the saucepan. But yeah, really you just want to make sure that all the cranberries are burst and that it's the consistency that you're happy with, which I think we're there. So I'm gonna take this off the heat, and then I'm actually gonna let this chill out for a few minutes. Literally. Want to let it cool off, and that's gonna help that pectin get to work and thicken this up a bit. Our homemade cranberry sauce is done. So I've said it before and I'll say it again. If you want something to be healthier, it doesn't really matter what you're making. If you make it at home and you're making it from scratch, it's just going to be healthier for you, even if it's not a quote healthy food item. So by making this from scratch, we have a lot more nutrition in the mix now. Personally, I think we have a lot better flavor too. Just adding apples and cranberries and all that jazz is really gonna capture more of the nutrition that's there as opposed to something that's canned and a little more processed. We have better, more natural sweeteners than this, no preservatives. So lots of perks to going about it this way. So give this recipe a try for your next holiday meal. I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. If you're interested in more nutrition or wellness videos or other cooking demos, you can check out our YouTube channel. Thanks for watching.